And welcome back to Comic Frontline, everybody. I am Brant Fowler, aka the Gonzo Goose, back with you for another review, a Heroes Reborn review, Season 1, Episode 4, The Needs of the Many. Now this episode sees several of the storylines we've been introduced to continue, some further than others, and at least one dire consequence as things are really starting to heat up, figuratively and literally, for at least one character. So, let's break this down by character. We have Noah and Quentin are still trying to find Molly Walker. They're trying to kind of invade Renatus to find her. They've kind of taken, what is her name? I can't think of the character's name, but it's the daughter of the Renatus head. Eve, maybe? No, that's her real name. I can't remember what Taylor, I think, maybe. So they take her and kind of show her the light and kind of reveal to her that, you know, these people are people. They're not just objects to be used or whatever. So they're trying to make their way into Renatus and find out what happened to Molly and what happened to Quentin's sister and all the other Evos that have been disappearing. Spoiler alert, they do find them. And when they do, they do find Molly Walker. When they do, Noah confronts her about what happened on June 13th, what happened with his daughter, why he can't remember, all this stuff. She's not willing to give up that information. It takes drastic steps to make sure that that information does not get back to Noah. That's all I'm going to say about that. Very intense scene there. So we also get a little hint as to what happened to Phoebe, which is Quentin's sister, that you saw in the web series prequel to Heroes Reborn, if you watched that. We see that she's going to come into play very soon. We just got one glimpse of her, but we assume it's her. And she's called the Shadow now or something. And we'll see what happens with her later on. Meanwhile, we have Luke and Joanne still hunting people, hunting Evos, and Luke, as we saw last episode, is starting to develop these powers. Now he's really struggling with this, and he reveals that this was never what he wanted. He just was afraid to lose his wife, and he reveals that he has powers to her, and things don't go so well between the two of them now. So we don't know where that's going. We just saw a couple of little scenes with those two as that built up, but now we got to see what happens going forward with both of these characters going on separate paths. What's his name? Timmy? I can't think. I think it's Tommy Clark. His story, as we left off last episode, him and his mother got hit by a car. And so now his mother is in critical condition, and he's trying to save her, and she needs a blood transfusion. If they get his blood, then they discover that he's an Evo. So things kind of play out as you would expect them to play out there. And then there's kind of a twist as he tries to make a run for it. We don't know what's going to happen there. Again, not a whole lot of information there. Him and the girl are getting closer, so at least he's got, you know, somebody that he can trust and rely on. But things look like they're about to get pretty shaky for him. Carlos, still the least interesting plot in this whole series to me personally. He decides that he needs some Kevlar and some bulletproof glass on a car, and he's beefed up this outfit and stuff. Unfortunately, the priest and his nephew run into some trouble later on when he's out gallivanting and trying to play hero for once. So, whatever. There's just something about this particular part of the story that makes it feel like a B-level superhero kind of flick, and I'm just not crazy about this particular story. Hopefully it'll improve and we'll like the characters. I do like his nephew. He's an interesting character, even though his power is he phases through stuff. Okay, that's fine. We don't know where that's going to go or what kind of use that's going to come into later. Let's see. We've got Katana Girl and her sidekick. They've decided that they need to go to America, and so he dresses her up as Katana Girl, has a bunch of his YouTube followers kind of converge, and that's really all we saw of them. Them traveling there and and that whole thing. And it's funny, they're the hero Ando kind of analogs, but it's kind of reversed a little bit, because the sidekick that would be the Ando, he's more positive and funny and stuff like Hero was. So it's kind of a reverse play on those characters. And we still don't know how they fit into Hero, because we know, I mean, she had Hero's sword. We don't know how or why, and we do see that sword come into play later on as well, but no appearances from any of the previous cast members at this point. Let's see, who else's story am I forgetting here? Well, we got the girl Melina in the Arctic, or in Canada now, as they're traveling southward, and we learn that she can bring life to dying things, just like Linderman did. So she resurrects a bunch of butterflies and a tree, and they almost get caught. And it's her and the invisible girl, who we don't know. We know she's from Pakistan. She mentions that, and we know she's a religious person. So we know they're trying to stop some kind of threat. And the Northern Lights appear, like in California, where everybody else is convened. Or is it California or is it Texas? I can't remember where they're at. I think it's California, but I'm not sure. Anyway, all the other characters start seeing the Northern Lights pop up in the sky. So that's an interesting plot twist as well. And let's see, is that all the characters? I think that might be all the characters. So there was some forward development of some of the storylines, but there were so many characters that we were following in this episode that not a lot of them were allowed to progress as much as maybe we would have hoped. I think Noah Bennett's storyline, which is the most interesting one, is the one that progressed the furthest, because, you know, he did reach his goal. He finds all these Evos and he learns what's happening to them, and the whole thing with Molly. So I think that's the element of the story that is really moving forward at a regular pace. Everything else is kind of, we're just getting little tidbits here and there, and I wonder how they're going to be able to fit all the story into these 13 episodes. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I do think it was a solid episode, but like I said, I don't think we got enough forward momentum here throughout the episode to I don't know, to satisfy my own viewing needs. I feel like if you look back in the first season of Heroes, you had a bunch of characters that you were following, but they would focus on like one or two characters' story, their through line through an episode, and we would see more progression for their particular stories, and then we would get little tidbits of other characters that would then be fleshed out in future episodes. I'm hoping that's what they're trying to accomplish here, but the problem is we're getting one that progresses a decent amount, but maybe still not enough, and then everybody else we're getting thrown at us left and right, and just this little glimpse into their particular story. So I don't think it was enough. I think maybe we should have left out a couple of them and focused more on building up some of the core character stories a little bit better. But I did enjoy seeing more about Melina as she's traveling southward, and we learn that she's supposed to save the world, and she's going to get help from all these other Evos, but they don't know it yet. So we did get a lot of teases, a lot of hints here, but just not enough forward progression for me personally. So for this particular episode of Heroes Reborn, which I still did enjoy very much, I'm going to give it a 3.5 stars out of 5. So that's my review. I'm hoping the show just continues to improve. I'm still really enjoying the show. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the characters that we know and how these all tie together, how all these new characters connect in some way, and what this major threat is that they have to stop. I'm still very invested in the show and in these stories. I just need more progression at this point, especially with such a short episode order. I feel like things are going to, the pace that it's going now, things are going to slowly build, and then we're going to get so much at once, it's going to be a little bit overwhelming, and I don't want to see it that way. I think it needs to be spaced out just a little bit more. So 3.5 stars out of 5 for Heroes Reborn Episode 4, The Needs of the Many. Hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the episode, what you think about this review. Like, subscribe to Frontline if you have not done so. So far, check out all the other reviews and content we're doing, Marvel #1s. Plus, Batman and Robin Eternal #1 is up there. And the live show every Tuesday night around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where we do our top 5s, discuss news, comics, etc. So tune in for all that stuff. Check out comicfrontline.com for more. And if you want to check out my stuff, you can check out, that's this site, lastimberpress.com or zone4podcast.com. And until next time, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next video.